Let's talk about some encouraging news that's just beginning to surface, a development that suggests the upcoming financial boost for Social Security beneficiaries might actually be bigger and better than what we've been anticipating over the last few months. All the details are rooted in fresh economic data that was just released, data that paints a new and more optimistic picture for the well over 73 million people who rely on these benefits every single month. This isn't just a minor update, it directly impacts the calculation of your benefit checks, so it's essential to understand what's happening and why this shift is so significant. We're going to walk through the key highlights of what this new information means. It's important to note that this is a developing story. Based on the trends we're seeing right now, there's a very real possibility that this positive momentum could continue to build as we move forward over the coming days, weeks, and months. We are entering a very critical time of year for these calculations, and the economic winds appear to be shifting in a direction that could be more favorable for recipients. This conversation is so important because we all know that for seniors on a fixed income, every single dollar counts. The financial pressure is immense, and navigating the complexities of your budget can feel overwhelming. It's a constant battle, trying to make ends meet when the cost of everything from prescriptions to groceries keeps rising. This is the reality that millions of people live with every day, a reality that makes any news about a potential increase in benefits so incredibly vital. The struggle is real, and it's frustrating and confusing, which is why understanding these economic indicators is not just an academic exercise. It's a crucial part of planning for your financial well-being. So, let's dive into the core of this news. The story begins with the latest inflation data, which we receive once a month, usually around the middle of the month. The report that just came out covered the inflation numbers for the month of May. Now, you might wonder why 1 month's inflation report is such a big deal. The reason is simple. The annual raise that Social Security beneficiaries receive, the cost of living adjustment or COLA, is directly and explicitly tied to inflation. When inflation goes up, the COLA goes up with it. Based on this new May data, the projection for the 2025 COLA has been revised upwards. The new estimate now suggests a 2.5% increase. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. A 2.5% raise feels frustratingly small. You might see that number and think it's unjust, that it's not right, that it's nowhere near enough to cover the actual price increases you see at the supermarket or on your utility bills. And you are right to feel that way. A 2.5% increase is, frankly, pathetic when you consider the real-world inflation experienced by most seniors. It's the same modest adjustment we received for this year, and for many, it felt like an insult. However, the real story, the positive news, isn't in the number itself, but in the direction it's moving. To understand this, you have to look at the trajectory of the COLA projections throughout this year. So far, we have received 5 monthly inflation reports in 2024. At the beginning of the year, the projections were trending downward. It started around 2.2%, then dipped to 2.1%, and then fell even further to just 2%. It looked like the 2025 COLA was going to be disappointingly low. But then, something changed. The trend reversed. Last month, the projection jumped up to 2.4%, and with this latest report, it has climbed again to 2.5%. Do you see the pattern here? We were on a downward slide, but we have now seen 2 consecutive months of upward revisions. We are moving in the right direction. What makes this upward trend even more significant is what is not yet included in this data. This 2.5% projection, based on May's inflation, does not yet reflect the full economic impact of major price increases that are just now starting to hit the economy. For example, it doesn't account for the new tariffs that have been implemented, which will inevitably lead to higher prices on a wide range of consumer goods. Furthermore, we've heard directly from major retailers like Walmart, Target, and virtually every other store that they are in the process of raising their prices. None of that is baked into the current numbers. This means that when we get the next inflation report in the middle of July, which will cover the data for June, we could be telling a completely different story. We could potentially see a significant surge in inflation in that report, which would push the COLA projection even higher. The seeds of higher inflation have been planted, but we haven't seen them sprout in the official data just yet. This timing is absolutely critical. While we are trending higher now, the most important months for the COLA calculation are still ahead of us. The entire raise is determined by the inflation data from the third quarter of the year, which is July, August, and September. The fact that we are seeing inflation begin to tick upwards right before we enter this crucial 3-month window is potentially fantastic news. We may be able to nail the timing perfectly, with a surge in inflation happening right when it counts the most for determining how much of a raise you're going to get. To put this into perspective, let's think about what a 2.5% raise actually translates to. It's a modest amount, to be sure. But the key is that we are building from this new, higher baseline as we head into the summer months where the economic pressures from tariffs and retail price hikes will be most acutely felt. June, July, August, and September are going to be the most impactful months of the year for this entire calculation. The upward momentum is undeniable, and the stage is set for a COLA that could end up being substantially better than the dismal projections we were seeing just a couple of months ago. The story is far from over, and for the first time in a while, the outlook is looking a little brighter.